Welcome into Warchant TV. This is Ira Schoffel, managing editor of Warchant.com, along with Corey Clark, our senior writer. We are locked outside of Doak Campbell Stadium right now. We're actually we've already been kicked out, which probably would have been better off maybe if we'd been locked out from the beginning of the game. Florida State starts off the Mike Norvell era with a 16-13 loss, kind of similar to last year's season opening loss. Not, you know, in the sense that they got out to a lead and then just completely couldn't do anything on either side of the ball in the second half. New coaching staff. Same players, same quarterback, same result. Another loss for Florida State to start a season for the fourth straight season.
I thought what set this one apart, though, was the two weather delays. I thought that made it unique and special and welcomed Mike Norvell to Florida State in a wonderful fashion. Yeah, man, I think when you look at this game, it wasn't like the Boise State game in the sense that Boise State game, the offense just trekked up and down the field for the first four drives. And you're like, oh, my gosh, this is incredible. Even their touchdowns were 12-yard gains, 8-yard gains, 9-yard gains. I'm talking about today on the drives, and then it just bogged down. They had 21 first downs. That's not a small amount, but they would get to the 35 or 37-yard line, and then there'd be a sack or a false start or more than likely an incomplete pass or a bad read, and then all of a sudden you're facing 3rd and 10, 4th and 7, 4th and 8, 4th and 3, and a false start. It's just all the same things. The second to last drive, which was really the drive that they were in field goal range, that they could have almost tied the game or maybe gone and won it. Brady Scott with a false start. James Blackman with an inexplicable scramble for try to get a first down on 4th and 8 with two guys right there. It's the same guys doing the same things over and over and over, and at some point something has to change. Either they have to change or a change has to be made for them.
Yeah, I think that I was watching Mike Norvell a lot on the sideline, and it seemed like he was trying to keep his composure. There was one play, I think, in the first half where you started to see things starting to unravel a little bit. James Blackman had an interception on third and 15, 3rd and 16, something like that. Forces a throw for no.
It wouldn't have been a first down either way.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't going to. It might have been a 6-yard completion if he had completed it. Throws an interception, and on top of it, Dante Lucas comes in and cleans a guy out after the play, gets a 15-yard penalty. It ended up not counting. Florida State got blocked a field goal. I think it was one of the blocked field goals, so they didn't give up any points there. But it was just the same type of thing we've seen from this team the last couple of years. And I think I watched Mike Norvell kind of handle that situation. He tried to be as calm as possible, even down to the last drive or two where James Blackman couldn't get anything going for the offense. He kept trying to. He was calm. He was asking James Blackman, "What did you see coming off the field?" Trying to get some information, and I just don't think he's getting good answers. But I don't know what the solution is. I mean, you sit there, and I know everybody's tired of seeing the same mistakes, and I know everybody wants to see a change of quarterback. We saw a little bit of Jordan Travis running the Wildcat in the second half with some success, but until Chubba Purdy gets back, we don't get the sense Tate Rodemaker, the other freshman, is probably a guy that's going to be given the keys to this offense right now. What else can they do?
I mean, I start Travis at quarterback. I mean, I know he threw one pass and it was basically right into the ground. McDonald was kind of drifting back from him too. Maybe he thought he was going to stop, but I don't care, man. I know that he on 4th and 8 he probably isn't going to try to scramble through three guys. He might try to throw the ball downfield and at least try to make a play. I've just seen enough of it, man. We're 28 games into his career, and this loss isn't all on James Blackman. The defense I thought was horrid. Not horrid, that's too strong. They only give up 16 points. The defense was disappointing. Not mildly disappointing, just straight up disappointing. They gave up 16 points because Asante Samuel is good and they blocked some kicks, but they were manhandled in the second half. Georgia Tech drove. But why does Georgia Tech have a better quarterback in game one? Just like last year, Boise State had a better quarterback in their first game as college players than Florida State does in their 28th game. That's what you have to ask yourself, and I get to the point where at least Jordan Travis is something different. I didn't think the offensive line played terrible. I thought that there were a couple times where we're all going to concentrate on the bad interception or even the incompletions, but sometimes he had a nice pocket. They gave him time, and a lot of it could be because of ghosts that haven't been ghosts in the past. This kid's been hit a lot in 3 years at Florida State, but he had time and still got happy feet. Still danced out to the right when he didn't have to. Scrambled out of plays. Didn't look downfield. Didn't make the second or third read. So I wasn't really pleased with that, but also I wasn't pleased. I don't understand why they went away from what worked the first two drives, which was a lot of screen passes, dump passes, and then they just didn't do it anymore. Toafili had like one other catch the rest of the game. I don't understand what happened in those first two drives where it's like they knew James Blackman's limitations and got the ball out of his hand quick, got quick passes that he can do, And then as the game wore on, it's like, okay, I want you to drop back and scan to your second or third read and try to hit a big play. That's not him, man. So if they can cater a game plan to James Blackman, by all means, go for it. If not, why not try Jordan Travis? Because at least he's hard to tackle.
Yeah, I think the other thing, talking about the offensive line, they had, it seemed like things were going pretty well for that group until they started having injuries, and then it was just like one injury after another. None of them seemed to be super serious, but really everybody on the offensive line except for Bavion Johnson went out for a period of time, and then you started to end up having, on James Blackman's fumble, I feel like he needs to feel that pressure, but he also, the right tackle was Chaz Neal, who's not supposed to be playing, and he gets blown right by. They had to move Devontae Love-Taylor to left tackle. Devontae Love-Taylor was injured at certain times. It was one of those games where it seemed like one thing after another went wrong. But back to your point about the defense, I think that's probably it may be the most disappointing thing about this game, because you had a 10-point lead. It could have been more. But even when you had the 10-0 lead, they weren't playing great. They weren't imposing their will. The defensive line, which we've all kind of built up as one of the best defensive lines in the country, we expected it to be, just didn't really have much of an impact. Part of that was, I think Georgia Tech had a really good game plan. Jeff Sims is a mobile quarterback. It seemed like Florida State was very concerned about his running. They weren't just charging upfield. They were trying to make sure he stayed in the pocket, but he threw the ball really well. And the most impressive thing about him, and it's a sore subject, I know, because Jeff Sims was committed to Florida State for a long time, and you asked, why doesn't Florida State have a quarterback that plays better in the second half? He didn't even get rattled when he had the 2 interceptions. He had 2 interceptions that were awful. Terrible interceptions. They could have scored more. They were driving on those drives, and then he just, he basically gift wrapped a couple interceptions to Asante Samuel. Could have had a couple others. Asante almost had a pick 6, and there was Emmett Rice almost had a pick 6, but they. But he settled down and he played well in the second half. James didn't do that. But defensively, what are your takeaways from this game, aside from Asante Samuel playing well?
I was unimpressed with the defensive line. I was frankly not mildly disappointed, just straight up disappointed in the defensive line. Bavion Johnson had more tackles than Corey Durden, because Bavion Johnson had to tackle a kid after a fumble or an interception, one of the two. But Corey Durden didn't do anything. Literally didn't do anything, statistically wise anyway. But also, it's not like you saw him getting a ton of pressure either. You didn't notice him out there. He's too good a player for that. Fabian Lovett I noticed a few times. And also, I don't know what kind of difference Kando would have made, but probably some, I would think. Quayshawn Fuller, he made a couple. I noticed him a couple times, but he didn't do anything that impacted the game really. And there was one play when it was 10-0 after in the third quarter. Georgia Tech had like a 3rd and 16, and that was the one time where they did not get the ball out of Jeff Sims' hands quickly, and he did not scramble. He stood back there and had time enough to hit a kid on a crossing route that beat Jarian Jones for, I think, like a 22, 23-yard gain, and they scored a few plays later, and that was the play of the game. If you get off the field there 10-0, maybe they make a change to quarterback. I don't know, maybe, but also Tamorian Terry drops a sure touchdown. Made a nice adjustment on the ball, but then dropped it. Emmett Rice, look, man, I know you're not maybe expected to catch that. You're a linebacker. If you catch it and house it, it's 17-0. You probably win the game, and they probably pulled the quarterback. But they didn't, and he got confidence. And it's taken advantage of those opportunities where this team just hasn't done it year after year after year now. And like you said, that's 4 straight season-opening losses. 3 of them have been James Blackman at quarterback. I don't know. Again, I don't know that it's not fair to blame him for everything. There were like you said, there were mistakes. The offensive line, the receivers made mistakes at times. Norvell wasn't quick to put it on Blackman at all. But again, I know the fans don't believe in him. Like 95% of the people watching this, I get it that you don't believe him. 100% of the 2 guys in this video probably don't believe in him. But do the players believe in him? That's what you have to wonder about, because I'm not sure they do. Because they have eyes and they can keep score, and they're now 18-21 in their last 39 games. So moving forward, I don't know what the answer is offensively, but I don't even know if that's the bigger issue. I think as you move forward, I think they'll figure out offense enough to get, average 26, 28, 30 points a game occasionally. What are they going to do defensively when a team doesn't just throw interceptions right to Asante Samuel? That's what I'm worried about.
There were, a couple of positives. Special teams was really good. That was the best special teams FSU's played in a long time. Blocked 2 field goals and an extra point. The coverage units were really good. Really dominated field position in the first half. That's kind of why FSU was winning the game. Was they really dominated field position early. Got a couple of nice returns here and there. Just overall a good performance from the special teams. Yeah, Alex Mastromondo is a freshman, averaged a 20-something-year-old freshman probably, but he averaged 48 yards a punt. I still think this is a good coaching staff. I still think this looked like a sharper, more organized team, especially early on. The challenge is going to be, I think the big picture challenge for this team is how do you get guys who've never handled situations well and change that. And, I know people don't want to hear the word culture. I don't know what the word is, but there were too many times in that game where guys, you just saw arm tackling. Everything went out the window. All the fundamentals kind of went out the window. Defensively, had a ton of missed tackles. And I know part of it's your first game, and it's been a crazy offseason. And this game, like you said, 2 weather delays. We were here for seems like a better part of 3 days. But I do think the coaching staff will do a good job. I think they got to figure out who to play and who can do what, and then those guys grow from it. I mean, I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. But the problem is they have 2 weeks now before they play at Miami. What did you think of Mike Norvell's post-game comments? This is the first time we've spoken to Norvell after a game. I thought for the most part he was very measured. He was not emotional. He didn't look like he was stuck in the headlights like maybe Willie Taggart was after his loss to Virginia Tech. But he also wasn't going to throw anybody under the bus. He defended James Blackman, put a lot of the onus on the offensive line, the receivers. Overall, what did you think of his comments, and how do you think they'll be received by Florida State fans?
I don't know how they'll be received. I don't know what he could have said other than I'm tired of all this and just thrown things. I don't know that anybody would really that it really would have mattered. He was measured. That's a good word for it. And I thought he put the blame on himself, which is fine. He did not, like you said, look maybe like it didn't look like he didn't have any. I think he knows what the problems are. It's a matter of can he fix it. And I will say this. It was pretty evident, I thought, midway through the second quarter. Okay, here we go again. We've seen. I even tweeted it. We've seen this movie before. 1 bad drive turns into 3 bad drives, turns into 5 bad drives. I didn't like the way he responded, or Dillingham responded, to finding a different way to move the ball. I thought it took him too long to get Jordan Travis involved. I thought it was too sporadic. I thought you could have made some play. You could have done something else with Jordan besides, hey, just run to the right.
Also trying to find different ways to get Tamari in the ball.
Yeah. They did that a little bit. Too late. Yeah, too late. There's things like Keyshawn Helton was a non-factor, which I think that guy can be a pretty special player, but who knows how many times he was open and didn't get the ball or wasn't thrown on time. But I didn't like exactly maybe how he responded. He's never coached these guys before. Now he knows. Okay, all right. Okay, I see what everybody's saying. I see what everybody means. I see what happened here the last 2 years. I got to believe it now. So I want to see how he responds. It's a big 2 weeks. I don't know that any of us expect them to go down to Miami and win that game, although it's not outlandish. I mean, Miami's not great. But will they compete? Will they go there with a different game plan? Will they do something different? Will they punch them in the mouth? Will something like that happen where you can feel good about the direction of this program? Because again, this season, we're not punting the season away. You don't want to finish 2-9, but it is such a bizarre season. You just want to see growth, man. You want to see a team respond. You want to see a coaching staff make changes that actually work and matter, and we haven't seen that in a while. So hopefully we will. That's what we'll be looking for in 2 weeks, right, Ira?
We're signing off here from outside of Doak Campbell. Say they won't let us on the field anymore. They're shutting everything down because of the virus. So anyway, we had to make do. We're out here in the outside the stadium, but Corey will have his column up on the website. We've already got some coverage up. I know we have the post-game call-in show that you could probably go back and watch. All the interviews with Mike Norvell and players. And then we'll have some more coverage coming tomorrow. Stay tuned to Warchant.com for continuing coverage of Florida State football 2020.
2020. Catch the excitement.